just gonna get out in front of it right now. Selaco is great. Go play it. Okay, I guess I can explain why it's such a great game, but this is gonna need some setup that I need to prepare for real quick. In that time, roll the montage! Right. Now that I'm ready, I'll just get this out of the way. Selaco is a first-person shooter that was released into early access last weekend by Altered Orbit Studios. Now you're probably wondering, how is that different from what I've been doing since the new era of this channel started, or historically what I've been doing on this YouTube channel before? And it's primarily in the tech and the execution. Regarding technology, Selaco was developed in GZ Doom, a modern source port of Doom recognized as the most feature-rich and up-to-date source port. Seriously, I was on their website doing research for this video, and the most recent version was released as recently as April of this year. That's fucking wild. This shouldn't surprise me because I've seen people make full-on first-person Metroidvania games in GZ Doom, but this is something else. It's mainly shown off in the interactivity in the in-game world itself. You can interact with pretty much anything that looks like it might have a use prompt. Food, which gives you health in single-digit increments, the plates the food is on, furniture, construction equipment, hospital stretchers, tool cases, light switches, computer monitors, keyboards, window shutters, doors, obviously. The list goes on and on. And this is all in an engine port where the most famous games made with it didn't have use keys. It's ridiculous, and every time I see Selaco in action, it feels like black fucking magic. Every time I see the not quite but just convincing enough volumetric smoke coming off of enemy smoke grenades and dust kick-ups, I get blown the fuck away. Every time I see the way all of this is interconnected and threaded together, and I know I sound like a broken record here, but this is wild. Sorry about that. However, these are the kinds of details that are only there if you take the time to notice them, like a stickler-ass weirdo. Like how I'm doing right now. Basically, I bring this up because all of these things are being done in the context of it all getting shot up to hell and high water. And that's because Selaco gets decidedly more early to mid-2000s with its boom shoot inspirations. While most stuff I've played in this new shooter canon has taken inspiration primarily from Doom, Quake, and the Build Engine trilogy of Shadow Warrior, Duke 3D, and Blood, Selaco is taking the majority of its cues from two games in specific, Fear and Half-Life. I know what you're probably thinking. Hey Mo, you charismatic stallion, that seems like a weird pair of games to take inspiration from, right? To which I say, maybe, but not really. A lot of this comes down to the storytelling and the gameplay. Storytelling in Selaco is told in the background in the form of data pads being found throughout the environments. These detail the lives of Selaco's citizenry and workers going about their day-to-day activities before the events of the game transpired. When the game picks up, you, as Dawn, a security officer in the game's protagonist, wake up at the Pathfinder Memorial Hospital, Selaco's main healthcare facility, during a brutal assault at the hands of unknown armored invaders. There's very little to glean from all this at first glance, but the first instinct you get from all this is run. And you do. You run through the first stretch of hallways without a gun, avoiding enemy fire until you get into another room in the hospital by way of vents and find a lone rifle. Then,
this is where the fun begins.
Door open! Alright, stand back. It's gonna get loud!
from there, you get your armor from storage and decide to push back the invaders and try to find any survivors in the process. The only other way narrative happens in the minute-to-minute gameplay is through the barks of the invaders on their comms, the news reports playing in the various TVs in the environment, and the city's AI helper just informing people of stuff. This is all contrasted by the bombed-out, bloody, and destroyed ruins of Pathfinder Memorial. This is the game's way of telling you that shit's gonna hit the fan and it's gonna get all over the place. But you do go to other areas as well, like a water treatment plant, several maintenance areas, and even a parking garage. I'm only a few hours in, but so far all of the levels I've been in so far have felt absolutely massive in size. But this combined with my terrible sense of direction means I get turned around way more than I probably should, which means that my playtime is most likely inflated. But that doesn't matter because, like I said, these levels be big, yo. So big, in fact, that Selaco has an actual functioning transportation system. This is done as a means of letting you revisit old levels you finished to track down any and all secrets that you might have missed out on. And this is an upgrade to the safe rooms. Speaking of safe rooms, this is the safe room. Your home away from home. A slice of Raccoon City era Resident Evil in your boom chute. What a time to be alive! Here, you can upgrade your weapons with whatever weapon parts you get from either secret hunting or killing difficult enemies. These upgrades run the gamut, from increased ammo reserves to increased damage to more specialized stuff, like the shotgun being able to destroy cracked walls that lead to more secrets, or grenades detonating on impact with enemies when thrown at them. You can eventually upgrade the safe room to have the aforementioned public transit system, and being able to restock on ammunition, that's useful. And you will need that because Selaco can be deviously tough at points. Before I bury the lead any further, I gotta talk about Selaco's combat real fast. While most boomer shooters are set in twisting, labyrinthine maps with sections that are wide enough for arena-based combat, Selaco takes its cues from the aforementioned inspirations of Fear and Half-Life, and sets its combat encounters in the urban locales of Selaco itself. While there are large arena fights, most of Selaco's encounters are smaller scale and more tightly packed. And this is where the Fear inspirations really take hold. If you run around at enemies like your Doom guy or Caleb, you're gonna end up riddled with bullets. This is because Altered Orbit took some notes from Monolith on how to make AI that is incredibly good at tricking you into thinking it's smart. There have only been a small handful of enemies that I've run into so far, but between the standard riflemen and shotgunners, I've seen them barking out callouts, making use of cover, flanking, the shotgunners slowly moving up to provide covering fire for the riflemen, and it's all incredibly impressive. Hell, they even add new enemy types over time, like these little spider bots that are just walking mines. Little bastards. And these are all enhanced by the invasion system. This is Selaco's ace in the hole, so to speak. As time goes on and you fight your way deeper into the station, the invaders all gain a series of buffs that change their behaviors in combat and all stack on top of each other. Some of the early ones are stuff like enemies getting access to grenades, deployable cover, getting access to smoke grenades, usually one per squad, a mobile version of that deployable cover tech, the spider bots getting increased movement speed, etc. This is a brilliant system because it allows Selaco to gradually escalate its challenge and change the kinds of encounters you have to deal with by simply changing up the makeup of enemy squads. And that's before getting into the more specialized units, like the Juggernauts, which are heavily armored bastards with big fuck-off miniguns. I've only encountered them one at a time, so I think they might be mini-bosses. I've largely played on the normal difficulty, and aside from some moments where I get caught lacking in situational awareness, I've had no trouble with the difficulty so far. Although to be fair, this is after swapping it down from the hard mode because ow, the pain. There's also guns in Selaco that I've weirdly not talked about until now. I should do that. You start with your standard issue rifle, which is an assault rifle that can zoom in for longer range engagements. It's supposed to be your workhorse weapon. Though it's fast, ammo port is everywhere, and you can even get an upgrade that makes it so that way you get increased ammo drops. They want you to use this thing. Another factor for this is that headshots actually matter in this game. Yes, you can drastically save ammo by aiming for the head and simply removing the context of the enemy's cranium. If I didn't know that the invaders were aliens, I'm sure of it now because not only do they jib quite nicely, I'm pretty sure humans don't bleed purplish bordering on magenta blood. There's also a pistol you get with your armor called the Roaring Cricket, which is a hand cannon that can 2-tap most enemies in the face and even has an upgraded module that replaces its zoom with a 2-shot burst. A chonker of a shotgun that fires slowly, but makes it so that whatever was shooting at you is for sure painting the environment with their entrails. And an SMG that can be modded to have double the capacity because you can dual wield them. I found myself not using the SMG as much because it uses the same ammo as the rifle, and the rifle is my designated workhorse weapon. You also got frag grenades and deployable mines, and your armor gives you Fear-style forward-moving slides for when you need to either get to different pieces of cover, or just bum rush guys with a shotgun if you're feeling reckless. There are some other weapons too, but I haven't gotten them yet because this game is huge and I'm still in the early hours. All the stuff I've talked about in Selaco has been on the first handful of missions, and I feel like it's worth pointing out that this game is in early access. This is like Hades, or more so Hades 2, where a lot of what's in here is more or less mechanically complete. And if this is what the early hours of the first act is like, good lord, we are in for a treat whenever this updates. Even in its current form, Selaco is not only one of the most robust early access launches I've ever seen, but I think it might also be genuinely one of the best games I've played this year. It's in that exclusive tier of early access club like the Hades games and Proteus, where that foundation is rock solid and is using its style of development to make the best damn version of itself. I'm definitely keeping my eyes on this one. It's so fucking good so far. And before I go, I want to take the time to say thank you to every single last one of you that kept watching until the end. This weekly schedule that I'm on is still an experiment, and I'm still looking for any kind of feedback to help make these videos better. And if you played Selaco, let me know what you think of the early access in the comments, it'd be appreciated. And don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe and share it around if you haven't already. I promise you, you'll become 10% more confident in life if you do. Not really. Randy, my lawyer, has disclosed that I have to say that for legal reasons, this is a bit, but not asking for the likes and subs. That would be appreciated. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful weekend.